What is up, guys? Welcome back. If you're new here, I'm Kevin Crates. This is the channel where we go over to crypto news followed by 5 charts every day. Today, looking at Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, Quant, and AXS. And as always, timestamps are down in the description below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that bell on to catch notifications for all daily uploads. The market is looking green today, guys. Everything is pumping and Ethereum is leading the way. Ethereum almost pushing 2,800 now. Bitcoin pushing around 40,000, and everything is reflecting that action from Bitcoin and Ethereum throughout the market. There's nothing really to shout out at the moment, to be honest. Everything across the market is reflecting Bitcoin and Ethereum's price action. I mean, Axie Infinity, Terra Luna, Thorchain, Compound Finance, all up around 20%, having a great day. But I mean, even BTT BitTorrent is up around 11% today. So it really doesn't matter what we talk about at the moment. Everything is having a great pump today. There's just green across the entire market. We're going to dive into Bitcoin and Ethereum's charts in a few minutes and figure out where this price action is headed in the coming days. Looking at the news for the day, we haven't really touched on the news in a few days, and I apologize for that. I've been very busy with a lot of different things. However, I did want to touch on one article that I found kind of interesting that I saw today. Quiznos fast food chain partners with Bakkt to accept Bitcoin for sandwiches. I don't know what's bigger news, the fact that Bitcoin is going to be accepted at a Quiznos or the fact that Quiznos actually still exists. To be perfectly honest, I haven't seen a Quiznos in at least 10 years. And please leave down in the comments below if any of you have seen a Quiznos in the last 10 years, because I can't be the only person thinking this at the moment. But that aside, this is still very huge news, because Quiznos is still a small fast food chain, and this could set off a domino effect for companies like McDonald's and Subway to at the very least start the discussion to potentially accept Bitcoin or cryptocurrencies. So this is huge news. It's great to see. Maybe this will put Quiznos back on the map, but we'll keep an eye on this and see how it all goes. Looking at Bitcoin's daily chart, let's zoom in here, turn on our notes from last time. Bitcoin is making some moves. As far as price action goes, some things are a little bit different from yesterday. Let's jump to the 4-hour chart, take a look at our notes here. And you can see here, we talked about this price target. The Bitcoin needed to get back above 39,000, and it did. Price action jumped quite a bit here. And I'm going to turn on the VWAP in a minute. If you guys weren't here yesterday, don't worry, I'll explain it all in a moment. But this still looks very bullish. And as far as price action, it just needs to pop out of the Kumo cloud here around 40,000. It just really needs to get above 40,000. We talked about that yesterday. 40.5 and Bitcoin is back in a very bullish zone. Also the RSI, if I just move this over, you can see the RSI with this huge move when the price jumped up right back into uptrend zone, kind of riding that support now. Stochastic RSI is a little high. That could be an issue, but this is clearly an Ethereum-led pump, and this support here around 37,000, 37.7, we talked about that price target quite a bit, but I was personally even surprised to see that hold. I was not expecting this move, but this is an Ethereum-led pump, and we'll look at Ethereum's price action in a moment and compare the two. But if we just turn off the Ichimoku chart for a moment and turn on, let's hide that Ichimoku chart and turn on the VWAP and jump to the 15-minute chart. Let's zoom out here, turn off all the notes so it's nice and easy to see. So you guys can see that the momentum is shifted. And if anybody wasn't here yesterday, we talked about the fact that on July 29th, price action is around 29,000. If we go back a bit, you can see price is kind of trending right underneath that 600 EMA, which is that purple line right there. VWAP underneath it too. And then somewhere around here, July 21st, July 22nd, price shoots up over the 600 EMA and the VWAP follows. And we see price just take this momentum straight upwards all the way to around 42,000. And then August 1st, dips below the 600 EMA, and I personally was expecting a bit of downward momentum. I was looking for a bounce here. We talked about the fact that price action would need to shoot back up over that 600 EMA to get bullish again, and to be honest, I was not expecting this level of a move overnight. But as far as it goes, Ethereum is leading the market. I mean, let's take a look at Ethereum's 15-minute chart. You can see here Ethereum, same story, right? Ethereum July 20th, price is trading around 1,700. Ethereum hops above the 600 EMA, and Ethereum has not dropped below. Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin on so many different indicators. We're going to look at Ethereum's chart later, but let's just stay focused on Bitcoin for the time being. So for the time being, I would not be surprised to see Bitcoin potentially trend down in price at some point. It clearly wants to. But as far as the market goes, Ethereum is pumping up the entire market just like it did leading up to the testnets. So the question is, what's going to happen after August 5th? After this London hard fork is over, is Ethereum going to continue to pump? Is it going to carry up the entire market? Or are we going to see Bitcoin trend down in price in an opposite direction from Ethereum? Or is Ethereum going to manage to outperform Bitcoin, carry up the entire market, Bitcoin included? So let's turn on back our notes. Let's turn the Ichimoku chart and all the moving averages back on, and let's turn off the VWAP and jump back to the 4-hour chart and talk about price targets. As far as price targets go for Bitcoin, it's pretty simple. It's got to maintain pressure above 38.7. We've talked about that for so many days. It is so crucial to price action for Bitcoin. If it can't manage to stay above 38.7, there is a bit of support around 38.4, but really the support is around 37.8. If 37.8 is lost, I keep my eye on 37.2, and below that 36.3. As far as a bullish move goes, if it can manage to stay above 39 and 38.7, you want to see it break 40.1. 40.1 will indicate that Bitcoin is out of the Kumo cloud. If it builds up a lot of strength, you see it trading around 40.2, 40.3, then Bitcoin is most likely headed back to test resistance around 42.6. But as far as price action goes, Bitcoin still looks very weak. I mean, this is Bitcoin's 4-hour chart. This is Ethereum's 4-hour chart. Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin on so many indicators and so many time frames. It really just is a matter of question that if Ethereum can carry Bitcoin, carry the entire market, and what's going to happen after the London hard fork, there really is no way to know until the day comes where the London hard fork is over in the next 24 to 48 hours. So as far as price action goes, Ethereum is pumping. Everything looks great. Bitcoin still looks very weak, but it does seem to be getting carried by Ethereum. So I would just keep my eyes on these price targets. You want to see it break above 40.2, 40.1. You want to see it stay above 38.7. If it loses 38.7, 37.8, below that 37.2, and below that 36.3. Looking at Ethereum's daily chart, let's turn on our notes from before and zoom in here. Everything is pretty much going according to plan for Ethereum. Ethereum looks great as far as price action goes. I really don't have much to say about it. I'm pretty sure it's headed towards 2,800. It's already pretty much hit every price target we talked about. Having a bit of a pullback right now, the whole market is, but considering this massive daily green candle that we just saw put across the entire market, a bit of a correction right now is not really a big deal. Ethereum looks very bullish, especially on the daily. I mean, if this baseline comes out, that lagging span pops out, I would not be surprised to see Ethereum just blast off. But at the very least, I'm expecting this price target of 28.17 to be hit. And I would not be surprised to see Ethereum go above that as the hype builds up in the next 24, 48 hours. If we just look on the 4-hour chart, turn off our notes and look here. As far as price action goes, I mean, everything looks good. Conversion line, baseline, a little close together, but really not a big deal. And as far as price targets go, sorry about this mess. I'll get this cleaned up before tomorrow's video. But as far as price action goes, it really just needs to maintain the same price targets we've been talking about for days. Prices might pull back to around 2620. We've talked about that. Below that, 2620 is really the price target that it needs to hang on to. I'd be very surprised to see Ethereum drop below 2620. Below that, I start keeping my eye on, it's a little higher up now. I keep my eye on 2530, and below that, I start keeping my eye on 2420. But as far as price action goes, I'd be very shocked to see Ethereum have a massive pullback in the next 24 hours before the hard fork for any reason. But if it was, I keep my eye on 2620, below that 2530, and below that 2420. And below that, I keep my eye on this price target of around 2020 or 2070, sorry. But as far as price action goes for Ethereum, I mean, it's pretty obvious at this point. It's just going to keep climbing for the most part. And most likely, unless there's a massive change or a delay with the hard fork, I don't see any reason why Ethereum won't be hitting at the very minimum 2,800. But as far as price action goes on the daily, everything, if we turn off the notes and zoom in here, everything looks great. I mean, Ethereum is outside of the Kumo cloud, huge candle showing strength, a bit of a correction on this brand new candle that's about an hour and a half old on the daily, but Ethereum looks great to take off in my opinion, and I would not be shocked to see Ethereum trading above 2,800. As far as pullbacks go, we talked about that, 2620, and then 2530 below that, and then below that I keep my eye on 2420, and at the very bottom I keep my eye on 2290, really 2300 to be honest. Yeah, price targets for Ethereum, pretty straightforward. Looking at Chainlink's daily chart, let's turn our notes on from last time. The reason we are revisiting Link is because Link is moving how we talked about, and Link is looking bullish. Let's turn these notes off. We talked about the fact that if Link can get above this 200 EMA, Link is potentially all clear to push towards this price target right here of around 25.20, and it looks like Link is pretty close, around 23.7. We talked about the fact it's got to get above 23.7. It's currently trading at 23.75, a little low. If we zoom in here, you can see it's kind of dipping a little bit below that moving average, but the last candle did close above. A bit of a reversal indicator, but at the same time, the whole market is showing a bit of a reversal indication because of how much it just pumped. So I wouldn't be too surprised potentially to see Link push towards the Kumo cloud here, but that would be the first time since the May 19th crash that Link is trading outside of the Kumo cloud if it manages to break above 25.25 would be the price target. So as far as Link goes, I'm going to be keeping an eye on it because Link could potentially get bullish if it manages to push above 23.7 and really build support, which it already is. If we jump over here, turn all the notes off, you can see it's managing to keep price action just above that 200 EMA. I'd like to see a bit more strength towards 2400, but Link is looking pretty decent. It already got rejected here once around the 25.25 price target we just talked about. But as long as Link can stay above 23.7, I would not be surprised to see it push towards 25.2. And if we can claim 25.2, then that's the first time that Link is out above the Kumo cloud since this entire dip since May 19th. Not to mention a bit of a trend indication here on the Kumo cloud. Stochastic RSI is crazy high on pretty much every chart. So at the end of the day, there might be a bit of a pullback or correction after the hard fork. But for the time being, with the hard fork right around the corner, would not be surprised to see the market continue to pump. So as far as price targets go, you want to see Link get above 25.2, build a bit of support, and it is the opportunity to push towards 27.4. I'll just take a quick look at the 4-hour chart, see if we're missing anything there. I mean, stochastic RSI is very low, and you can see here it's just kind of building up momentum here. And if we turn off all these notes, the 4-hour chart looks very good on Link. Link has the potential to keep pushing up in price, in my opinion. So as far as price targets go for Link, let's just jump back to the daily chart. It's pretty straightforward. If it can't manage to get above 25.2, it's got to stay above 23.7. That is a crucial support at the moment. It is just hanging on to that support, trading around 23.78. As far as pullbacks go, I keep my eye on 23.17, below that 21.86, and below that 20.6 for Link. But Link is looking bullish. I would not be surprised to see if it continue to pump. It all really depends on Bitcoin and Ethereum, but 23.7 is a very crucial support that Link needs to hold on to. Resistance 25.2, pullbacks 23.1, 21.8, and below that 20.6. Looking at Quant's daily chart, again, guys, this is Quant's Binance chart. So we're going to jump down to the 1 hour so we can get a bit more information, turn on our notes from last time we talked about Quant. I like keeping an eye on Quant at the moment. It's a very interesting moving chart. This is just since the Binance listing. And the reason we're keeping an eye on the Binance chart is because Binance was the catalyst that moved Quant up in price so aggressively. But as far as price action go, Quant is doing some interesting things. Quant was listed on Binance at a very interesting time. I have no doubts that if Quant was listed on Binance 3 weeks ago, we would have seen a very similar pump to this, even though the market was not as bullish. The reason being, Quant does have a low circulating supply, and Binance does have a lot of trading volume. So I have no doubts that Quant would have pumped very similar to this had it been listed on Binance 3 weeks ago. However, this move here is Quant, in my opinion, benefiting from what the entire market is benefiting from, which is the London hard fork and Ethereum pumping the entire market. So the question on everyone's mind, including mine, is Quant going to $200 plus, or is Quant going to finally have a correction back down to this range that we've talked about, around 125 to 130? Because keep in mind, I mean, I got CoinMarketCap open here just to show you guys. Quant 2 months ago, so let's go back to June 4th. June 4th, I mean, Quant is trading at $44, and it is now nearly $200. And the question we all have to ask ourselves after all the months of crypto action that we have seen is, where is Quant headed? In my opinion, Quant is headed right back down here. However, I could be wrong. I have no problem saying that I might be wrong. I just personally still am not getting involved in this. We do have a nice uptrend here, but as far as price action goes, I can't see Quant pushing this high up in price without there being an extreme dump in price. And this correction here, in my opinion, does not make up for all of this, because Quant has really been pumping since around July 19th when it was around $69. So $69 pretty much straight all the way to 192. with very minimal corrections here. I mean, it pumped to like what, 178, drops to 150, so a $20 correction. Again, here pumps all the way to around 130 from really around $97, and again has a $5-10 correction. And this just does not make sense as far as price action goes. But I mean, stochastic RSI on the 1 hour is low, but I personally would be very shocked to see quant continue to pump. We're seeing it lose a bit of steam here, but if Ethereum keeps carrying the market, I would not be shocked to see quant keep running into 179. But I'd be very surprised to see quant get back above 192. I think at some point quant is going to have to come back down here to where its real support is around 135 to 125. And yes, quant does have a very low circulating supply, and that is the reason that it's pumping. But all it takes is a few people taking massive profits for that same reason that a slow circulating supply will drive price up. A low circulating supply will also drive price down if there's enough people taking profit. And as far as the movement that we've seen from quant over the last couple months, I just find it very hard to believe that we're not going to see a decently large correction in price. Now, if quant benefits from this Ethereum pump and goes all the way above 192, which is still very possible, I mean, don't get me wrong, in that scenario, the correction might not be as heavy as 125 to 132. In that scenario, I could see quant coming back down to this price target of 143, depending on how high it pumps. But as far as everything goes, considering this much movement and really considering this much movement, I'm still personally not getting involved in this. I mean, if there is something driving quant that I don't know about, and again, I know quant's a very great project. It's not that I don't think quant is, I mean, I think a lot of crypto projects are great. That's not really a reason why I think something should or shouldn't pump. It's just a matter of, is there going to be a correction in price anytime soon? Will quant be what X price in X amount of months? Possibly. That's not really what I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about is the fact that at some point, these prices we're looking at might be considered a little high for quant in the coming weeks, because quant has benefited from an extreme pump over the last two to 3 months, pretty much nonstop. And in this scenario here, it's pretty much gone parabolic. And if you add this into this, quant has pretty much gone up in a straight line. And if there's one thing we know about charts that go up in a straight line, at some point, there's going to have to be a correction. So as far as price action goes, if quant can manage to break above 179, I mean, it pushed all the way to 185 yesterday, lost a bit of steam there, but quant is showing bullish pressure. Ethereum is pumping. Quant does have the potential to keep pumping, but this is still, if you're not already involved, personally, I'm not going to be touching this still until I see some kind of correction, or I see it skyrocket and then correct from there, because quant has moved up way too much the last 2.5 months for there not to be some kind of correction in price. So as far as price targets go for quant, it's the same as we've been talking about. 172 is a bit of a resistance at the moment. I would not be surprised to see it claim 172 again. 179 seems to be the real resistance. It managed to push to around 185, but 192 or above would be very interesting. As far as Ethereum pumping over the next day or so, we may see that, but I still would be very surprised to see quant get to those price targets. As far as pullback targets, 163 shows that quant is losing a bit of steam. Actually, let's put one over here now. Yeah, still 163, 164. If prices dip below there, I keep my eye on this price target here of around 158. And below there, I'd really start looking for quant to pull back down to 143. But I'm still expecting quant to come back down to around 125 to 132. But 143 does have a lot of support. So for the time being, 143 would be the initial support that I would look for quant to pull back to. But quant looks bullish. That's undeniable. And it's going to be interesting to see how quant moves over the coming days. But 143 would be the support I keep an eye out for quant to pull back to. And below that, 133 to 125. Looking at AXS's daily chart, AXS's chart is looking very interesting on the daily. It does have the possibility to push for all-time highs if it can manage to get back above the conversion line on the daily. Let's jump to the 4-hour chart and turn some notes on. AXS is in a very interesting spot. As far as price action goes, I need to see it get above 45.5 with strength. This move here was very sharp. You can see here all the indicators kind of skyrocketed. It does need to cool off for a bit. I was not surprised by this pullback to 42.3. If we jump to the 15-minute chart, that's right around the bottom of the Kumo cloud. I'd like to see it push back towards 43.6 at the minimum. You can see here it's already putting in a bit of a move. It all really depends on these next few candles over the next 45 minutes or so. If we jump back to the 4-hour chart, as far as pullback pullbacks go, it's really got to stay above 41.07. If it loses 41, I would not be surprised to see AXS come back to 37 and kind of trade back in this range of 37 to 41. If it can't get above 41 and stay above 41, then AXS is probably going to trend back down in this range and potentially even go lower. But as far as price action goes, if AXS can get above 45.5, I would not be surprised at all to see AXS push towards all-time highs. So price targets for AXS are very simple for the time being. It definitely needs to stay above 41. That's an absolute must for this bullish move for in the immediate time. I mean, what it does in the next few weeks is not what we're talking about. We're talking about for an immediate push in the coming days. I'd like to see AXS stay above 41. In the coming hours, I would definitely like to see AXS push back towards 43.6. That would indicate a good bullish momentum, but if it doesn't, it dips down towards 41, it's still okay as long as it maintains 41. If it loses 41, AXS is probably going to trend back down towards 37 and kind of keep trading in that range. But as far as price targets go, it's got to get above 40.5. If AXS can get above 40.5, then AXS is in the bullish zone, and that may happen soon judging by the one-day chart here. Stochastic RSI is very low. The 4 hours having a bit of a correction. I mean, the entire market right now is having a bit of a correction. It's not shocking with this kind of move, but as far as price action goes, it needs to get back towards 43. It needs to stay above 41. On the lowest end, I keep my eye on 37.7, but as far as resistance goes, it's got to get above 40.5, and that's the main resistance for AXS. If AXS can get back above 40.5 and close above 40.5, I would not be surprised to see AXS push towards these higher price targets. So AXS price targets for the time being, got to get above 40.5, pullback targets 42.3. Below that, I keep my eye on 41.07, and below that 37.7. All right, folks, that's all for today. If there's any charts you want to look at in the future, leave it down in the comments below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and turn that bell on to catch notifications for all daily uploads. If you're not following me on Twitter, KevinCrates_ on Twitter. I'm extremely active on there. Anytime you tweet at me, I will always tweet back at you. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. I'm out.